I'm going to share with you why I don't believe in evolution, why I don't believe in theistic evolution. I'm not a scientist, so I don't claim to be a scientist. But I do have under my belt at least 13 to 15 years of debating atheists, and not only debating a few hundred, but we're talking thousands of atheists who have come at me to debate and discuss evolution, either by video, either by calling me, or either by sending me emails. Okay. And so in that 15 years, I've had to investigate their claims about why they believe in evolution, and to just say that I'm not the smartest person on the block, and I don't claim to have a scientific background, but PhDs in biology, I've asked them questions and they've not been able to answer them, and in fact they've run away with their tails between their legs. I was at Liverpool University once, a PhD in biology who was specifically researching in some aspect of evolution, theory of evolution, came to me, challenged me, and I'd said to him, what are the chances of natural selection, what are the chances of evolution with natural selection and mutation? What are the chances of that mechanism creating the eye or creating the brain? And they've walked away. They couldn't answer it because they knew that it's not a possibility. It's just crazy to believe that. And another PhD in biology I was preaching, they came up to challenge me to debate. I asked the same question, and within a second she walked off. She couldn't answer, and she walked off. So I don't claim to have a background in science. I don't claim to be of that level, but I do claim to being able to gone into just research, being able to find out things, and then when you ask scientists who have PhDs questions, they can't answer them. And when I've asked thousands of atheists, that they can't answer them. Yeah, I believe I was taught. I got my degree at Nazarene College, which is connected to Manchester University. I was taught that you do your research, and you do your research well. So that's what I was taught. So I've always believed that you should do your research, you should go and study the facts and the information. And so I've tried to do that. So I'm going to give you my reasons why I don't believe in evolution, why I don't believe in theistic evolution, and talk about some issues concerning it. Number one, the most important reason why I don't believe in evolution is there are two types of evolution. There's macroevolution and there's microevolution. Macroevolution is like a rabbit can change into a bigger rabbit, a dog can change into a bigger dog. We all agree on that. We don't disagree on that. Macroevolution, no problemo. Microevolution is a different thing altogether. Microevolution is saying that the mechanism of natural selection and mutation, that mutations are accidents in your genes. Yeah, that these accidents, which are happening thousands and thousands of times a second in your body, that these accidents in mutation plus natural selection, microevolution is saying that it's created all this variety from fish to land animals, from land animals to apes, from apes to humans. Okay, I don't believe that. I don't believe it because the mechanism has never been proven. Okay, that mechanism has never ever been proven to actually take place, because in order to prove that mechanism, you need to observe it in time, and it's never been observed in time. So what it means is, if it's never been observed in time, it means that you have to go back to the past, which means that it's not a hard science where you're actually observing microevolution before your eyes and you can write and do a research paper on it. You've got to interpret the past. Okay, so really it's an interpretation of past data, historically speaking, It's not a hard science where you're actually looking at the data in time. Okay? So for example, there's been research done on bacteria. They multiplied bacteria in the 1980s. They did it for about 12 years. They multiplied it, and it was about 40,000 generations, equal to millions of years in the human race. Guess what? Did the bacteria turn into flies? Did the bacteria turn into wasps? Did the bacteria turn into any other species or creature? No. The bacteria was still bacteria. I'll say it again. The bacteria was still bacteria. So microevolution cannot be observed in time. That's my first point. It's never been proven. All right? Second point, it's a historical science. It's your particular interpretation of the past based on a mechanism that you can't prove. Okay? Now that is the end of the debate as far as I'm concerned. You can say there are different fossil records. You're interpreting those fossil records according to the mechanism which you can't prove. So it's confirmation biased in your research as a scientist. It's confirmation biased for those who are evolutionists or theistic evolutionists. You are doing confirmation bias. You have a mechanism that you can't prove. Prove it right now. Put the data underneath the video right now that the mechanism has been proved in time. Has not. Microevolution has never been proven in time. So you're interpreting the past according to your mechanism, confirmation bias, a mechanism you've never proved. So you go back into the past, you interpret the archaeological, the geological evidence according to your bias, okay, that you've not proven the mechanism. So that's my second point. It's historical science. Someone as eminent, the greatest evolutionist about 20 years ago was Dr. Mayer, who died about 20 years ago. And he said that evolution is historical science. Okay? Dr. Karl Popper, who was a philosopher of science, said that evolution is not a science as we would understand it. Now, he said that. A lot of people, skeptics, were angry with him, and they got angry with him, and they were shouting at him and getting angry with him. So he reneged on it and said, no, evolution is a science. But before he died, he went back to his original statement, no, evolution is not a science. So that is a fact. So that was my second point. It's a historical science. It's not a hard science. Dr. Mayer, Karl Popper, I've made my point there, right? So my second point. This is off the top of my head. The third point, in your DNA's information, it's a complex code. Chance cannot produce a complex code, cannot produce a sequence of a code of high intelligence of information. And in your DNA, you have a complex code. Okay? Once you understand that code, you can begin to manipulate the DNA. So, that being said, evolution works on natural selection and mutation. It's a chance process. Now, scientists in the last 20, 30 years have said, no, evolution's not chance. But that's just not true. It's a chance process. Let's be honest about it. There are evolutionists in the 60s and 70s that were honest, and they admitted that. Eminent evolutionists. The language has changed because of polemics, because they know that if they acknowledge that evolution, microevolution is by chance, then there's a lot of explaining to do. For example, this complex DNA code in DNA. It is by chance. That mutation is a chance process. Natural selection is a chance process. If you're saying it's not a chance process, that there is a mechanism behind it that gives it order, okay, then you're actually proving the existence of God, because you're then saying that nature has a purpose. So you shoot yourself in your foot. So if you don't say that evolution is chance, then you're proving the existence of God, because then you're saying there's order. Well, if there's order, that implies a purpose. If that implies a purpose, it implies a mind. All right? You can't bring those things in, purpose and order, through the back door and think you can get away with it. You can't get away with it. That language has connotations and meaning, okay? So the issue is that DNA has information, and a chance process of natural selection and mutation cannot produce that complexity. An example is getting a chimpanzee to play on a typewriter and get it to press the typewriter and see what chance produces. It won't. They won't be that chimpanzee will not be typing a book about Shakespeare, a Shakespearean work that's better than Shakespeare. It won't even produce a line that's edible, that's understandable, legible, or understandable. So that's my third point, is that DNA shows there's a code, which shows that only a mind can give a code, only a mind can give information. We know that from our experience, okay? So that code, we have the Morse code, the Nazis had codes, the Allies had codes in the Second World War. These are intelligent phenomena. So there is a code in the DNA. It's intelligent phenomena. It shows there is a mind. And that points to God. And it's too complex to be produced by natural selection, which is a chance process. You can't get away with it. It's a chance process. I defy any scientist. They can say it's not a chance process. It is a chance process. Mutations is chance. It's chance. A mutation is a defect change in the DNA, in the molecular structure of whatever body it is, whether it be a body in a human being, a body of a fish, or the body of an ape. Okay? So that's the third point. Fourth point is the age of the earth. Okay? The age of the earth. The bones of dinosaurs, okay, if you get the bone of a pig, or you get the bone of a cow, or you get the bone of any animal, and that bone is covered up by dirt, you can cover that bone by dirt, you can cover it by anything you want, that bone will deteriorate. It will deteriorate. It doesn't matter what it's in, it will deteriorate. Eventually, it will deteriorate, okay? So the idea that there are bones that have been preserved for millions of years is absolutely nonsense. It's just ridiculous, okay? And there has been research done on this recently, PhD written on it, and specific research done by parts of bones of pigs, bones of various animals, to see the deterioration rate of the bones. The calculation is that there's no way bones, the very bones or the aspects of bones, can last millions of years being preserved in whatever liquid or whatever form it tends to be falling in. Okay? So that puts a big question about the age of the earth. Number 5, the Bible talks about in Romans that they exchanged God for a lie. Mankind does not want to know God, wants to reject God. Now, it's a historical fact that if you look at the time of Charles Darwin, that those around him, Huxley and those, they pushed evolution to destroy Christianity. They saw an opportunity to destroy Christianity. And it's not a conspiracy theory. It has been pushed by certain key intellectuals, key scientists, for example, Dawkins. It's been pushed to try and smash God, especially the Christian faith. You only have to look at Richard Dawkins to see the virulent attack he did on B, Dr. B, and the books that he wrote on intelligent design, and the absolute malign, slanderous things that Dr. Richard Dawkins said. So there has been an agenda. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's a fact. There's been an agenda to unseat God in the West and to unseat Christianity specifically, and evolution has been the battering ram. Okay? The Samosan Institute, there was a scientist there, he wanted to do research, publish a paper on research on intelligent design. It was a Christian guy called Meyer, whose article was to be published, and the scientist who didn't believe in intelligent design was kicked off the editorial paper, the editorial magazine of that museum. That's one example of many examples where scientists that believe in six-day creation or intelligent design have been persecuted in the academic world because of their beliefs, and academic research and development has been stifled because there is this confirmation bias to defend evolution come what may. That's my fifth point, is there has been an agenda against the Christian faith. That's why evolution was pushed out of the schools of America, and it was pushed out of the schools in the UK. My sixth point is, when you believe in evolution, morality goes out the window. You don't know what's right and wrong, and moral anarchy prevails, and we can see that in the West. They pushed out the God of creation, so there is now no right and wrong, and now immorality, perversion, and debauchery, and sexual impurity has become rife in the West, and it's the direct result of rejecting the God of creation and believing in evolution. That's my sixth point. My seventh point is these rock formations. There are many anomalies. There are many anomalies, okay? When you find layers of strata of rock with a tree going right through. So how does that work? So you have this rock that's so-called millions of years, and then you have a tree that's like 100 years through these millions of years rocks. You have many anomalies like that, where volcanoes have erupted and created an environment where it looks like millions of years, but it was created within a couple of days. Things like that are not seriously considered by evolutionists. So, is that my seventh point? The rock formation, there are many anomalies that put a spanner in the works about the age of the earth. And the way these rocks are interpreted, the way these rocks are understood, is by certain theoretical standards, theoretical assumptions that, again, are influenced by the mechanism of evolution. So if you, as a geologist, believe in the mechanism that natural selection and mutations created this variety of creatures, then when you look at the geological strata, you can't help but interpret it as an old earth, because it has to fit your agenda. So there's a lot of data and evidence to suggest that the earth is not millions of years old, that some of these rock formations can even be formed in days, you know. So people don't take that into consideration. That's my seventh point. That's another reason why. My eighth point is evolution as the idea things are progressing better, but the law of thermodynamics is the idea that the second law, I think it is that everything is deteriorating, and yet evolution is saying it's developing better. So it's a direct contradiction to a basic law of physics. Now, the argument from evolution is that, oh, well, we're talking about biology, we're not talking about physics. No, but biology is a physical phenomenon. And in physics, we're talking about the deterioration of the natural order. So in the second law of thermodynamics, there is a deterioration going on, which is a direct contradiction of natural selection and mutation making things better. No, there's a deterioration in the order. So it goes against a very fundamental law of physics. Number 8, my 8th point. My 8th point is it Pasteur and others have shown that if you create a vacuum, nothing's going to come and grow in that vacuum. It's been proven, scientifically proven, that if you have a vacuum, nothing's going to grow in that vacuum. Nothing's going to appear in that vacuum. So John McDropout, and this is the atheist. John McDropout is an atheist, right? John McDropout and the atheist, and I love Ryan, but Ryan did it. It was ad hominem. What John McDropout has done is ad hominem. Refute the points. Go through the points and refute them. They can't be refuted. They cannot be refuted. None of these points that I've made can be refuted. You cannot refute my point that the mechanism has never been proved. It's a fact. It's not a case of 30 years behind. This is ad hominem, John McDropout. These have never been answered. They can't be answered. The argument that I made about the mechanism has never ever been answered. It's never been answered. The mechanism has never been answered. It's never been dealt with. Okay? Oh, the argument of the fallacy of consequence. I understand what you're saying there, but it's a fact though. So it's a good argument. If there was no evidence there, then maybe it would be a fallacy. But there is evidence there. There is evidence. Yeah, I talked about the mechanism before. But there is a consequence of rejecting creation. Now, you might say, oh, well, as John McDropout says, yeah, but, you know, if there is a consequence, it doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. Well, is there evidence to show that there's a degeneracy in the West? Yeah. Is there a way of showing that it's a direct result of rejecting creation? Yeah, because we can see the results of what's happened in the schools. You take creation out, the doctrine of creation, right, John? You take the doctrine of creation out, society becomes immoral. That's what we've seen. Okay? That's what we've seen. It doesn't lead to morality. It doesn't lead to what is right, what is wrong. Okay? It leads to moral degeneracy. It's a fact. So you can call it fallacy all you want, but let's stand on some historical facts. Okay? So my 8th point, what was my 8th point? My 8th point is Francis Alala. This doctor of biology wrote a PhD, and he said that in the 1950s and 60s, scholars were told when they were doing their PhDs in biology, they must not use the word purpose in the PhDs when they talked about evolution. They mustn't use the word purpose. In other words, the academics were scared of any language coming in that might indicate that biology, when it comes to natural selection and mutation, They had a purpose. So what we're seeing there is censorship of creative thinking. So any scientist who was doing a PhD in biology and used the word purpose, they were told to take it out. That was direct censorship on PhD students in the 50s and 60s. So my 8th point, I think it's my 8th point, I'm getting a bit old, is there has been direct censorship of the actual PhD students of evolutionists over the 50s and 60s. And so that has hindered proper academic thinking on evolution. Because you're saying you can't say this word or that word or use this or use that in your research. That is not a good precedent for academic research. You should be free to be able to creatively think about an issue. And yet, PhD students had shackles upon them. My 9th point is reading evolutionist literature. When you read evolutionist literature, there are logical fallacies. So, for example, when you read Richard Dawkins', I think it's called A Wonderful World, and you read his Blind Watchmaker. In his book, The Blind Watchmaker, he talks about bats, and he notices the complexity of the sound system of the bats. And then he concludes that we can deduce microevolution from that. That's a logical fallacy. It's an equivocation. He's talking about macroevolution and then doing a switch and bait and saying, oh, this proves microevolution. That was the biggest blare, the biggest fallacy in that book, The Blind Watchmaker. The second book that he wrote, more of a popular work on evolution, called What a Wonderful World, I think it is. He then talks about cabbages, and cabbages change in different sizes and different ways. And so he concludes from that proves microevolution. So just because you see cabbages change does not prove microevolution. It's an equivocation. It's a logical fallacy of equivocation. The study of cabbages is not looking at microevolution in time. Okay? So when I look at, we'll silence the atheist now and the evolutionist. Here's John McDropout, right? John, you've said you've studied this for years and this has been answered, yeah? I'm going to ask you a question now. And whatever I've said, I will renege on it and I will acknowledge I am wrong. If you can answer this one question, all right? Give me the data, the scientific evidence and proof that natural selection and mutation has been observed in time concerning microevolution. Give me the data. You got 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got you, boy. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. End of debate, John. End of debate, brother. You got to think now. You got to read your Bible. You got to come back to some sense. You had your chance. I counted a slow 10. I'll give you a whole week. I've given you a whole week, John. You've got a week till next week to post your PhD or your article to prove microevolution has been observed in time. Okay? You've got your opportunity there, my friend. Oh, come on, John. Anyhow, I've said that point, right? Number 10. What's my 10th point? There's many other reasons. The 10th point is I have read Origins of Species. I've read it. It's a terrible book. I've read it. I've read the life of Charles Darwin and I've read his book and I'm not impressed. Okay? And you said this. When you said that, bro, I had thousands of atheists attacking me on the internet, if you remember. Well, all right. So Charles Darwin has wrote that, and it's got research, even though it's out of date. Okay, on the island Galapagos, a finches. What are finches now? Are they still finches? The finches are still finches, bro. They ain't changed. They ain't nothing else. They're still the finches. It's not outdated. It's just wrong. His conclusions are wrong. Multiple speciations, and this is the problem with the atheists and evolutionists. They can't prove their point, so they have to hide behind semantics. They have to hide behind semantics. Let me tell you something. There was research done on bacteria, John. They multiplied bacteria, right? Don't hide behind semantics, speciaceous, and all the rest of it. It's nonsense. It's all smoke and mirrors, right? Let's get down to some hard facts and data. Bacteria was multiplied for 40,000 generations. It was one of the biggest studies ever done, okay? And what was the bacteria, John? What speciaceous happened there, bro? Did they move into something else? Did they move into another speciaceous? No. Bacteria was still bacteria, right? So don't hide behind semantics. They brainwashed you, bro. You've been brainwashed, okay? Let's get to some facts, some hard data, okay? Oh, you see, you're hiding behind, you see new features and structures, switch and bait. No. You are hiding behind semantics and then equivocating. You're making equivocation. You're moving from micro to macro, and then you're switching baiting it and confusing yourself and confusing other people. Let's stick to microevolution. You see, you're brainwashed, bro. You're brainwashed, John. You're brainwashed, bro. You're brainwashed, and if the scientists are at your level that you're saying, the scientists don't even know what they're talking about. The scientists are lying to themselves. Yeah. Of course, John, of course. No problemo. We need some facts. A change of a leg or a change of an arm does not mean that you have proven microevolution. It has never been observed in time. I've given you the bacteria scenario, okay? If we had dogs and we bred dogs 1,000,000 times, yeah, there would be different types of dogs, but we won't come back after doing it 1,000,000 times with dogs. There won't be elephants. That's the point, my friend. Just because you say a dog's got a bigger ear or a bigger nose, that's evolution. No, it's not. Let's stick to the facts. Let's stick to microevolution. It's never been proven in time. First mechanism. You've not proved it, my friend. You've not proved it. John Dropout is one of the smartest atheists on the internet. He's one of the most well-read atheists on the internet. And he's one of the nicest. He's one of the nicest atheists on the internet. He's one of the most well-read atheists on the internet. And if you notice, he's accusing me of not reading anything, right? But he's not put any facts on the ground. And I've given you data. I've given you evidence. He's not giving us any evidence. All he's doing is semantics and then calling me names. Saying I don't read, I don't study, I'm not willing to know. But I've given you facts. I've given you data. You've not given us anything. And you're confusing things. You're confusing it. That's what the atheists always do. They're always confused. And then they say, oh, you don't understand. You don't study. Oh, I don't study, but you're confused. You're confused. Even PhD atheists that I've heard in evolution, when they're talking, they're confused. And they think they're so smart and they know it all, and they don't. They don't. Better be quiet. Sorry, love, I'm on. My wife's there. See, he's on about, see, he's hiding behind, see, this is the beauty of John and the 80s. You see, the greater thinker you are, the simple you are. The greatest people who are good at their job, those who are good scientists, those who are good solicitors, those who are good at their job, right? Those who are good keep things simple. Those who are brilliant at their work, they keep it simple. Those who don't know the work very well, they get complicated and they say complicated things because they don't really understand what they're talking about. And this is a classic example of the atheists. The atheists start to use big words. They start to say big words, and they say big words because they've got an inferiority complex. Because they think they're smart, but they're not smart. Because John, who I love, is confused. He was confusing macro and micro. And that's what the atheists do. Switch and bait, switch and bait, switch and bait. That's what we're asking, bro. Show us. Show us. The next reason why I don't believe in evolution is it undermines rationality. Reason is an ordered process. Evolution is not an ordered process. Natural selection and mutation is not an ordered process. It's a chance process. It's not personal. It's a what can we say? It's an impersonal process. Evolution is not a personal process. It's the belief in evolution. It's an amoral and irrational process. In other words, it's not a rational process, and it's an amoral process, right? It's not a personal process. Okay? And yet, rationality implies morality. We're able to think in order to act and do ethics, right? If you believe in evolution, how did that which is amoral, that which is not rational, produce morality and rationality? Okay? So wolves are still dogs. They're still in the same camp. Wolves and dogs are in the same camp. They're in the same camp. So I forgot what I was saying there. Yeah, rationality, morality. Evolution is not rational and it's not moral. So how did that which is amoral and anti-rational but that doesn't prove anything. That doesn't prove anything. Right? Are they of the same kind? Take the genetics of a wolf and the genetics of a dog. All right? They're of the same. Irrationality cannot create rationality. Right? Irrationality cannot create rationality. Irrationality cannot create rationality. Irrationality cannot create rationality. Right? So if you believe in evolution, it undermines rationality. Alvin Plantinga made that argument. Answer that question, John. No, you have to show in time. Show us in time. Show us an observable example in time, and you can't do it. So it's only conjecture. It's only your interpretation of the past. Okay? So irrationality cannot produce rationality. Evolution is irrational. It's an irrational process. Natural selection and mutation is a chance process, and yet it's produced rationality. If you believe in evolution, it undermines rationality, which undermines morality. It's an amoral process that's producing morality. How does that work? Alvin Plantinga has used those arguments. Answer that. John, answer that question for us, bro. How does irrationality produce rationality? Cats are trying to get in. The cats are trying to get in, bro. Yeah, they're all opening the window. No, I don't know. I think they've opened it there. I think they can get on the settee. Are you sure? Sorry, it's the cats. Anyhow, folks, theistic evolution, we proved that the mechanism of evolution is not true, and we've said that the word day, yom, in the singular, dual, and plural occurs some 2,225 times in the Old Testament, with the overwhelming preponderance of these occurrences designating the ordinary daily cycle. Normally, the preponderant meaning of a term should be maintained unless contextual considerations force one to another term. So, in other words, it's the word day in the Bible is used in the Hebrew yom over 2,225 times, and most of the time it means a literal day. Number two, the recurring phrase "and the evening of the morning," very simple. Taken together, continue a day. Genesis 1:5, 1:8, Genesis 1:13, Genesis 1:19, Genesis 1:23, Genesis 1:31. Yeah, but that's your confirmation bias. Your confirmation bias is saying that evolution is rational. It's not. It's irrational. It's by chance. That's an irrational process. The recurring phrase "in the evening and the morning," taken together, continue day one. Genesis 1:5, Genesis 1:8, Genesis 1:13, Genesis 1:19, Genesis 1:23, Genesis 1:31. Hey Sam, God bless you. I've missed you, bro. Hope you are okay. And John, it's great to have you on as well. John Ethmet, Dropout, and others too. It's great to have you. Put it bluntly, guys, I will never ever believe in evolution. I can't believe anyone with any intelligence can believe in evolution. And I can't believe that anyone with intelligence will believe in theistic evolution. The reason why you believe in evolution is not because of the science, it's because you reject the God of creation. You don't want to come under his authority, so you want to enjoy sexual immorality and perversions. That's why you believe in evolution. It's not because of the science. You can't stomach a God that tells you what to do. Do not lie, do not steal, do not commit adultery. You can't stomach it. You can't stomach it. You cannot stomach it, create the God of creation, because you want to live an immoral life, period. And those who believe in theistic evolution, the reason why you believe in theistic evolution is because you become rationalistic. That's why, not because you're biblical. We've shown you exegetically in the other video and in this video that it's a 6-day creation. That's what the Hebrew is teaching you, and we've looked at it there. Excuse me, okay? So those who believe in theistic evolution, you are being impacted by the culture of the time, and you just want to be accepted. And you can't accept the word of God the way it's teaching. That's all. And so you be careful, because you're becoming rationalistic as Christians. You're moving away from the pure word of God. Sam, I could, but to be honest, I need time to be with God, because it's not easy here, bro. Everybody wants something from me. They want this from me. They want that. And it's hard, brother. I just need to be with God. There's very little encouragement here. I help a lot of people. I'm in 13 villages. I help a lot of children, a lot of poor people, and I don't get a lot of encouragement. I don't get a lot of support. And people just want things off me all the time. They want this off me. They want that off me. And I don't have hardly anybody, apart from my wife, that says, Jason, I'm with you, I'm behind you, I don't want anything from you. But everybody else, they just want things off me, you know. So I'd love to talk to you. I've kept in touch with you because I've been worried about you, because I haven't talked for a while. But to be honest, I'm so finding it hard, the culture. They just want things. I can understand the poor and the needy. I can understand that, but it gets too much sometimes. 13 villages. They're all poor in those villages, and someone wants food here, someone wants this, someone wants that. And I don't get a lot of encouragement from the West, and it's hard, bro. And I need to spend time with God in prayer, bro. But maybe in a few days, if I feel stronger, maybe we can have a chat and we'll be able to talk longer, bro. I hope you understand. But for those who are here, Ryan, me and Ryan had a chat for an hour. In another video, you can, and he believes in some kind of theistic evolution, his own spin on it. We had a good chat. So I've made 2 videos responding to Ryan. I've given the exegetical basis for the word, the Hebrew word day, and then this video I've just given you my own reasons why I don't believe in evolution or theistic evolution. So that's it, really. I've got no more data, so I'm gonna crack on and let you go. So love you all. Take care. Are you okay, sweet? Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy, because, you know, people are needy. They are needy, you know. And you, as a human being, you just want to help people. Oh, I'm sorry, Sam, to hear that, brother. I'm sorry, brother. I'll be praying for you. I'll send you a message tonight and tomorrow, bro. I'm sorry to hear that. But your family will be in my prayers, bro. And thanks for letting me know. You know, I was a bit worried about you. And John McDropout, yeah, to meet people's need practically, you can't just ignore people when they're struggling. But there's only so much you can do. You know, we're not supermen, so. Okay, guys and girls. John McDropout, thank you, Sam, and others contributing today. Stick in the mud, whoever you are. Stick in the mud. Stick in the mud, and then there's Z. Then there's Arul. God bless you, bro. And there's others. A rule, yeah. Thank you all for coming. And God bless you all. Thank you. It's been good to all talk to you. It's been a healthy discussion. Respect whatever you believe. We might disagree, but still respect you, John. Still respect you all. And God bless you all. Yeah. Take care now, and God bless. I hope you found it informative. For those who want to study theologically the doctrine of creation, get yourself a new systematic theology by Dr. Robert Raymond. Get yourself this book. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, bro. There you are. Dr. Robert Raymond. Doctrine of Creation. Have a read of it. And if you want an interesting lesson, go and listen to me and Ryan go toe to toe. He was on Theistic Evolution, I was on Creation, and we were having a polite discussion, debate on that. That's on a video down on live stream. So data's going to go out in a minute. So for the next couple of days, I'm just going to be in prayer, bros and sisters. Yeah. God bless you. Love you all. Hey, guess what? Look at that. Tetley tea. Tetley tea, yeah. Crack-a-doo. Crack-a-doo, eh? Tetley. Tetley. Hey, gets better. Coffee. What is it? Decaf. Gold roast. Crack-a-doo. All right. Take care, folks. There's a shop, Sam. There's a shop in Winneba, and it's like a little warehouse, and they have some things from UK. Sometimes, like I bought, Jacob crackers, bought them, but when you get them, they're out of date. I just had one now. It was as stale as anything. There was no crispiness to it at all. And sometimes you get some chocolate that's British, like a Mars bar or a Snicker, but it was made in 1980. So when you taste it, it's like that. Yeah. So some things you can buy that's English. You can buy a tin of beans, but you got to be okay. You got to be careful because they might be made in 1975. But sometimes you can get some good stuff from time to time. Things were a bit better than years ago. Last year and the year before it was tough. But now there's a few things I can get that's English. So it's alright. Alright, love and leave you everybody. Take care. God bless. Keep safe everyone. Remember, there's only one way to heaven, Jesus Christ. He's the only way, the truth and the life. Always remember that. He's the only way. Yeah, it is expensive to ship. Well, it depends where you're shipping it from, John. If you're shipping it from America, it'll be, but from UK you can ship, well, you used to, but I think it'll be 3 times as expensive now, won't it, Dawn? A box, you could send stuff, a big box like that, for £70 in a container of stuff. Now it'll be like £300, I think, now. So I think it wasn't as expensive, but I think it's more expensive now with all the inflation and everything. So I better go. Take care. God bless. Love you all and take care. God bless you, yeah.